overall lighting, but I kind of like having the light over my head like that. It's so funny, like the divine light just for you. So I'm gonna try to keep this video short, but I was just thinking about, I do have a whole swath of experience in how to be safe from, how to escape from, and how to liberate yourself from narcissists, abusers, karmics, things like that. And I know that that could probably help people, and it's my great pleasure to be able to help people with that. And I want to thank those people from my story because really this started way back when, in my frustration for my person being abused by them and it being little we could do because it meant that his daughter would get more abused, I started writing articles. And my first one was How to Spot a Control Freak, which my biggest fan, total narcissist, totally went and just like wrote nasty comments all over it. I wasn't even like, I was writing about stuff that I'd experienced with her, but it wasn't even all about her. Like, I have my own family experiences with it. I have other things going on, but it certainly triggered her. It's very interesting. Um, but here's the thing. There's a lot of information that goes around on the internet that talks about how you deal with a narcissist, like gray rocking and all that stuff. First of all, what you have to recognize is most narcissists are not stupid. Like, they have easily gone and learned all of that information. It's not hard to go and do that. And oftentimes they will use that information to crazy make people who are not narcissistic and just have big hearts. So even if it was valid information, it's not useful anymore. And most of the people that go and leave this sort of information are doing it for the numbers or the keywords or the sensationalism in it. And most of them are narcissists themselves, either as a consequence of being abused by narcissists and people of that nature, pirates, or because they already were there and didn't recognize the reflection. So here's the thing. Usually, in a kind of a spiritual and subconscious sense, we end up manifesting people in our lives who are in these energies. They're sort of other dimensional beings, if you will. And sometimes even people that we love can get pulled into their webs and end up being so drained for their own, from their own nature and their own emotions that they can become narcissistic like, because that is what these people like to do. They need to have their constant energy sources around them, right? This is common information. Though, here's the thing. Do you know how they keep their stronghold on everybody? They make sure that everybody is too afraid to talk about it. And the first place they usually go, that usually works really well with kind people, is that they'll either instigate situations to where you have a tough choice to make, and no matter which choice you make, you're kind of a jerk anyways. And then they'll use that over and over and over again. Or if you genuinely are kind, they'll like pick on you. Like, I went to go and help my DM one time, way, way back before I knew twin flamey stuff. And, the person that I was 20 years now known this man. And I thought that he'd blacked out at his apartment. And I went to go and check on him. Like, I drove 30 minutes from a different city to go check on him. And his family decided that while they were stalking him and had all of their business up in his sex and dating life, to suggest that I was a stalker. And it worked really well for a while because I was like, I mean, I never stalked anybody ever. And I was like that, but I would never want to be seen that way. So as a person of integrity, I worked really hard not to do that. And I now feel bad because there were so many times I should have helped him and his daughter and other people, and I didn't because I didn't want to be even thought of as a stalker. And it was a trigger to me because my own family like often misrepresents me because they have their own wounds and things going on. So like, it worked really well. And a lot of them will do that. And that way, you never want to speak up because it would mean owning your own BS, your own shadows. Because whether you did something on your own because you were still growing and maturing, or whether it happened as a consequence of being set up by these people, if you're a good person, you don't want to talk about that. Or like, if you're like me and you were okay with friends with benefits with married guys when you were younger, or or me now, where it's like you're open to kink and polyamory and all sorts of stuff, or maybe even like you come from a mainstream religion and you're getting into tarot and twin flamey stuff, and those cultures are like, whoa, right? But either way, when so here's the thing, the straight up answer, okay? How do you liberate yourself from these people and anyone that you love? You have to talk about it. You have to expose them. Like, they're going to do all sorts of things. They're going to talk about court. The best thing, in fact, one of their favorite games to play is doing things that are definitely illegal, but that there's not exactly enough evidence for, and then getting you into court when you're all riled up, and then getting you to basically look unstable so that they can then take whatever you have and push you out. I've seen this happen so many times, so many times. I'm so happy to be able to talk about it to help people avoid this, right? But the truth is, like, if you worked on your, so in order to do that, right, you have to be able to talk about your own stuff. You know what? I know a lot of people that have been tied up in narcissistic relationships and abusive relationships and karmic relationships to where they became equally as abusive. It may even have been that they started out with some of it. I know a lot of women that grew up, in a man's world, and like they were abused. And when they got into relationships and they'd get mad, they come up in your face like a man. And it could have started that way. But it's still, you got to own it. You have to be able to own your own stuff and love yourself through it. It can't be one of those, yes, I'm a bad person too. No, like, you have to be able to look at it and go, yeah, I made those choices. That was a former version of me, and some of them were morally challenging or questionable, or they were wrong completely. Like, I, I take pleasure in owning what I have done, not because I'm proud of the stuff that I have done, but because you know how few people are able to own their stuff and end up becoming equally as abusive by being silent as the people that are abusing. That makes you an accomplice, right? So you have to be able, hey, Aya, you have to be able to own yourself. And yes, you have to be willing to, like, go up like a phoenix about it. You know what I mean? I got people right now, because of the truth that I'm speaking and I'm exposing them, they're sending me all sorts of threatening stuff, and they're trying to scare me into thinking about court stuff. But the truth is that they're scared because they could not pass through court. Not if it was a real thing, not with all the evidence that I have after 20 years of this stuff. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't have 20 years worth of evidence. I'm a writer, so it just, like, I mean, I journaled a lot, I wrote a lot, and I've actually made a fair amount of money as an article writer on some of the oldest article writing websites that there were, because that's just when this is what I did with my energy while they were bullying and doing all that stuff. I put my energy into trying to help people because I was so upset that I was not being the courageous person I felt like I was, because I didn't want more people to get hurt. Like, I was operating under what a lot of people do, which is, but if I say something, more people could get hurt, or the same people could get hurt more. But you really got to listen to yourself in that. Listen to what you are saying. You're not saying that people will stop being hurt if you stay silent, or that you won't get hurt if you stay silent. You're saying that you're afraid that the people that are already hurting people are going to hurt people more if you don't speak up, or if you speak up. So think about that. It's not going to stop just because you stay silent. And those same people, don't think for a second that they aren't already gossiping about all the stuff that you're afraid everyone's going to find out about. It's already common news. If you're connected with people that would do that to you, they're doing it to pretty much everybody else too. And the thing is, though, like, the other way that they often get people is that they get you into being hateful, which is not hard in this world. So it's not just about being able to say, yes, I fucked up too, and I'm willing to make up for that. Like me, I'm anything I've actually done, whether it's something I need to apologize for, or if I got to do, I got to see some therapist to prove I'm perfectly stable, at least as much as a person can expect to be in a situation that I'm in. I'll do that. I have no problem with that. If it's paying some fine because I spoke the truth and it actually broke a law, I'll pay for it. I won't even argue it. Like, I will go there because it's my karma and my shit for not speaking up, for being just as much afraid, for, I mean, I'm talking like kids continued to get hurt because I did not speak up. Like, do you know what that does to me on that level? Like, that upsets me far more than any sort of way that I might have to pay for speaking the truth, right? And that includes the physical threats and shit like that. Like, I would rather take that and put that energy out there, because what other way do you apologize for allowing children to be hurt, so that, like, basically so that my skeletons wouldn't come out of the closet? And here's the messed up thing. I know a lot of you that are going to watch this can resonate with this. None of my skeletons are that big of a deal. I'm pretty boring in that way. Like I said, I put my time into music and articles, and then even with my separation from my person, I put it into my channel. Like, I did grown up things. And all the while having my reputation attempt to be taken down and all that stuff by people. It's like, really, you got better time for this? But, that's what they do. And once you're in, they don't want to let you go, and they'll have everybody else, even the good guys, they will have in on it, because those good guys have also not done great things, and they don't want it talked about. They would rather defend or gaslight or do whatever thing so that they don't have to face the light either. So you can't just be exposing the people that are abusive. You need to be able to impartially own and talk about everything that everybody is doing, even the good guys, even the people that you feel sympathy for, because you understand that they're scared too. And you need to be willing to talk about your stuff first, you know because for one thing, the world looks at it a lot differently. When you own your truth first, before anybody made you, before you had to, which is something that I've already been doing. I already talk about and own my stuff, including with my kids, all of it. I am honest with people because, one, it pays off. People trust you a lot more, and you get a lot more goodness in the world when you are authentic and honest, and not in a self-defeating or I'm just going to be blunt sort of way. No, that's not, no, I mean, be honest and be accountable for your stuff first. And one, that removes all power that anybody might have to try to shame you. I don't care if you cheated on someone. I don't care if you did drugs in the past. I don't care if you don't have a great relationship at your house. I don't care if you hoard. I don't care what your deal is or what thing it is that you're afraid for people to know about. If you're not willing to own it, you are giving your power away to other people who clearly are not going to ever use it for any benevolence. And it does you and nobody else any good to allow that. And that is allowing yourself to be disrespected for no benefit. Zero benefit. Okay? So you have to be willing to talk about you. And then, yeah, like, I mean, everybody's human. Even somebody with a big brain like me and a real long memory is not likely to remember all details. You might get caught off guard by stuff that you forgot that you did, or they might try to go through and like work through other kinks to try to intimidate you. Like, these people will do anything to avoid the light. They will do anything to avoid exposure. They would rather give you more evidence by threatening you more, or leaving, suggested threatening comments, or having kids try to talk to you and say that you're being bad. Like, they might do all sorts of things, but you just need to stay in a place of gratitude. Like, don't get on and trash talk people. I'm not talking about doing that. I'm talking about you tell your story. You expose them through telling your story as you experienced it. If you have anybody else who has also been in that position, who is brave enough and healed enough to be able to join you in that, ask them to. Tell them about it. And if they are not, then you need to recognize that for the time being, you're going in it yourself. And it could go all sorts of ways. But 9 times out of 10, the people that I've seen actually do this sort of thing and actually benefit from it, they prayed for their people. Frenemies, foes, family, everybody. And they told their story for themselves. So they were able to heal. And they simply stopped being codependent with the court of public opinion about who might care about it, who might like not be friends with them anymore because, they're owning their stuff and things like that. And they were loving about it. I genuinely, even when I am passionately, like, emotional about things that are going on, I still love these people because now I get to make videos like this. Yeah, would I have preferred to have had a life story where this was not a thing? Yes. Yes, I would have. Though my soul chose this life when I came into this body, and I would much rather love my life, laugh at the ways that I used to be, and grow and work on that. And part of my growth is being the kind of person who shares my story honestly. And I've wanted to do that for so long. I am naturally the kind of person that's just kind of an open book. And the only reason I couldn't was because I was keeping quiet for people who were hurting me and other people, who are abusing other people, who do anything and everything to keep you scared, confused, drained, broke, and make sure that you can't leave, that you can't really get out of it. And even if you can, you're still stuck with the problem that you're carrying their nasty secrets, which is energetically weighs you down. It blocks your money, it blocks communication, it creates relationship problems, it creates CPTSD and other things like that. The way that you liberate yourself from these people is to liberate yourself from yourself in a loving, faithful way. Do not ever get to a point where you are like them, where you think they are broken or they cannot be adults. Do not ever get to a point to where you feel like they're going to fail. Do not wish them ill. Do not get into a place of like, they're just narcissists and da 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 da. No, then you're getting onto their wavelengths. Then they win, which is all they really care about. If you look like a fool, if you look silly in doing that, they're just going to laugh more, right? So you got to do this for you. You got to do this for the overall healing of the collective, as in the ripple effects of what you're doing. Like, I know that in doing this video and doing the other videos that I've been doing and the Facebook posts, that even if some incredible miracle or they work some crazy magic to be able to actually get me on anything illegal that I'm doing, because I'm not doing anything illegal, that at least I got the information out there. At least I was able to help a couple of people. At least I was able to help a few people know that they're not alone. Those ripple effects are incredible. Incredible. It's worth it to me. I'm worth this, right? So that's the kind of way that that's the kind of attitude that you got to get to is, you know what? I'm not going to be like those people. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be grateful for my story. I'm going to do what I need to in order to talk about it. I'm going to own my own stuff. I'm going to, like, I went to therapy too. You could go to therapy to be able to own your own stuff. If you find somebody that you resonate with, at least reasonably, like my rule again is 80% of the time, work with them. You know, don't just run away from it the minute that you got to look at your shadows, face them. You know, and when people do offer you feedback, whether it's from somebody who's abusive or karmic or anything, or it's from a good side, when you feel that trigger of like, I don't want to look at that, or other people were mean to me first, or this and that, or well, I can't do it that way kind of thing, stop and look at that trigger. Start that process. It might take you a little while to liberate yourself from these people. Like, so, like for one, they've got all the information memorized for how to do all this stuff online. So, you know, having a plan is not really going to help you. There, you know, people that are either from another dimension or that are hot in this energy are they're looking for the playbook. You know, half of them probably wrote it, you know? And so you have to be willing to be yourself and tell your story and own your shadows and stand in benevolent light and just have faith. The Spirit's got you, that you've got you, that you have friends that have your back. Because what these people often do is get you to the point to where you feel valueless, to where you feel like you'll never be supported, and then you never even try. Or you feel they make you feel like even though what you've done is not as bad as what they've done, that it's enough that everybody will abandon you. I can assure you, if you own your stuff and you are genuinely a kind person most of the time, you make friends on a regular basis, you do good things, you have community, you do that stuff, you're never going to be unsupported because time reveals all. Truth tells all. Consistency is there. If you look around, these same people that are holding you back, most of them don't have any friends. And the people that they consider their friends are usually the people that they shit talk and vice versa. Like, it's not hard to see the reason that they are trying to control you too is probably because you offer the best light of all, or maybe at least you know, if you've been codependent to their people that are codependent to them, you feed them or you do something that maybe they can't explain it, but they know you're valuable to their supply source, right? You need to be willing to walk alone to get away from being that supply source. You need to be willing to walk away from people that you know might otherwise be the good guys. And I don't mean ice them out. Don't be like narcissists. Don't be in a space of like, these people have hurt me. I'm going to ice them out. I'm not getting the attention I want. They're not standing up for me. No. Yeah, like talk about it. If people aren't defending you, that are definitely the people that should be defending you, talk about it. Be willing to talk about it. Be willing for people to be mad at you for a minute. It's not the end of the world if people are mad at you. It's not. And that's how we get caught in these things. Oh my gosh, I might feel shame for 30 minutes. Oh my gosh, I might feel like I might have to have some hard conversations with people for a few months. Oh my gosh, people might know that I'm not perfect. Like, these are games that karmics and narcissists and abusers play. Be different. Be different. Be willing to look at your own story and say, you know what, it's weird and I've not always done the right thing, but I love everything about it, and mean it. Because when you can stand in that place, you can walk over hot coals if you need to. You can do incredibly amazing things. You can support yourself even when it feels like there is no support to be had, right? You can speak your story at that point and watch how many people it uplifts. Because that's the real beauty in it. Don't do things like people like that do, toxic people. Don't go for revenge. Do it because it lifts up other people, and that makes you feel good about who you are, so that you are being selfish in the best ways. Because being selfish is sometimes healthy too. Everybody will tell you. All the wisest people and all the people around in every community, and even the people who like you really shouldn't listen to, their wise advice when you end up in difficult relationship situations or tangled in with people like this is do what is best for you. Think about it. Is it good for you to be angry when it basically poisons you? Is it good for you to feel like a victim? To tell yourself you're powerless, you don't have enough evidence, you don't have enough support? Is it good for you? No, it's not, but it's really good for them. You got to work on your self-love. You got to get to that place to where you have the things that they do not. And like at that point, you're also going to have to go through trial and tribulation of them seeing that you have what they do not. And some of them will be scared of that, and the rest of them will want it. And if when they can't get it because they're not willing to do the shadow work and the light work that you have done to get there, they're going to try to either punish you or take you down or hold on to you in whatever way they can. You got to look at it like this is a higher spiritual lesson. There's a reason why you are in this position. And if you are watching this video, or you get called to this video, or you're looking up this information, it's because you are meant to be one of the people that restores balance to generational cycles that have been keeping us all stuck in this way. You got to make it about something bigger than just you. Because if you're thinking about it as just you, our society has this chronic problem with acting like we are completely insignificant, and everybody else is more significant. And it's like there's truth in that, yes. But we are also significant as individuals. And the thing is, yeah, if there was just one of you doing this, it might seem insignificant, but your ripple effects matter, for one thing, and for two, you're never alone. Like, I'll do other videos later, but when you're doing something, there are statistically at least, at minimum, 10 other people also doing the same thing. And it's proven scientifically, spiritually, like all sorts of ways. Psychologically, yes, you're not alone. Even when you feel alone, you are not alone. And by the time you get through what feels like the long, arduous journey that you were going through, like, you're going to run into these other people who are also doing the same thing, and you're going to be like, whoa, we were brave enough to be the first, and we didn't know if we'd be the last or be the only ones, but we did it, and now we're meeting in, as Maverick says, Ascension City. Whatever it is, right? Get in there. Own you, own your stuff. Be the person that you tell people you really are when they're not misrepresenting you, you know? Sorry, I didn't see your thing for a minute. You said, I took down the biggest slumlord sex abuser in my city about 5 years ago. Nice. And now my city is growing. I love everything about that. Thank you for telling me that, Aya. See, like, what was I just saying, right? See, now, like, I mean, I bet you felt pretty alone, right? And like, But then you run into other people who are also there. Like I got like 20, I don't even use the word narcissist much in my life. I vehemently didn't went against it, but I'm going to say I got like 20 narcissists that I'm taking on that have been controlling families and people and all sorts of other things. And it's like, you know what, alone or not alone, I'm gonna do it. And so far it's working. So and I part of the reason I know how to do this and to be confident just being a good person, I don't need a plan, I'm just gonna be me and I'm gonna keep going, because I know even if they could do something to slow me down or hold me back, I've still already done a lot of good work just in doing this stuff alone, just in being willing to be a human in front of people. You know what I mean? And that's where the real joy comes in. That's where you get reaffirmed in that gratitude, that it's like, you know what? Am I worthy of a life where this stuff doesn't ever happen? Yes. Yes, I am. Though, you know what? I'm also worthy of a freaking legendary story, right? And after the life that I've been through, I would much rather stand on the bricks that have been thrown at me and say, you know what? This is pretty darn legendary, and look at how amazing I am because of what I have been through, than to sit back and be like so many other people and be like, poor me, look at my life. What good does that do anybody? All right, y'all, I'm going to get off of here. I'll probably do more videos like this later, because I know that a lot of you are emerging from your own situations and getting slumlords and drug lords out of different places. I love you all. I love everything about you. Stay grateful, but don't forget that it's okay to feel other feelings too. It makes you more human, and I love everything about that. I'll see y'all in the next video.